Toyota's legacy has been standing tall for generations. From pioneering hybrid technology to redefining the standards of safety and efficiency, each innovation a renewed commitment to progress. And with Toyota's legendary lineup of trucks in stock at your local Toyota dealer, you can experience the legacy for yourself. So check out the ultra-rugged new 2024 Tacoma, built for off-road adventure or everyday practicality. Or test drive a heavy-duty half-ton 2024 Tundra, decked out with modern tech and comfort, with a haul-anything attitude. And both Tacoma and Tundra are available with the iForce Max Hybrid powertrain, giving your truck more power than ever before. Quality, reliability, efficiency. That's the legacy of Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com, the official website for deals, to find out more. Or stop by your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota. Let's go places.
Imagine uncovering the secrets that others missed. A hidden clue, a silent witness, a twist that changes everything. I'm Carter Roy, host of Murder True Crime Stories, a Crime House original podcast. Join me every Tuesday as we dive into a famous solved or unsolved murder case. Follow and listen to Murder True Crime Stories, an Odyssey podcast in partnership with Crime House Studios. Available now on the free Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
You ready? I'm ready. Are you ready?
Ready.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
This is a sacred moment between a boy and his father.
Say what you're trying to say. What kind of weirdo are you?
Jeff Lutz.
And it's frustrating when you don't hear me, because I'm speaking very clearly with direct language.
I can feel the love.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
It's all happening. It's all happening. It's all happening.
And you're invited to partake of it.
Stand by for action.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome to a Monday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show here on KFH Radio. It's Bob Lutz, Jeff Lutz for the next couple of hours as we take you to the 7 o'clock hour here on KFH. College Football National Championship game is tonight. For those of you who aren't completely footballed out, I think I am. Jeff Lutz here with me. You footballed out? Or are you going to give this a look tonight?
I'll probably give it a look. I probably won't. Probably won't be my primary viewing.
You'll probably
situation.
Be on Raw on Netflix.
I'll probably be on Raw and Netflix tonight. That's
Which is
correct.
Sad in some ways.
We got the New Day back in action. It's going to be a big one for them tonight.
I don't know, man. Shouldn't we watch the college football championship game?
I'll follow it. I'll check in. Who cares, though? I mean, is this really something we're clamoring for? Notre Dame, Ohio State, it's a good matchup on paper. It looks good to the advertisers. But does anybody really
Notre Dame to win if I'm going to make a move in the picks? I just need Notre Dame to win. If I'm going to get
you don't need Notre Dame to win. You just need Notre Dame
I need them to cover, but I got to get closer to Duda.
Yeah.
I'm a little closer right now, 15 points closer. But if I don't get Notre Dame to cover and the unders.
What ended up being the passing, rushing?
Well, those were both way over.
Over?
Yeah. Way over.
Passing?
Passing was way under.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, running was way over.
So a lot of people got those both right.
Yeah, I'll accept Max, who picked the under in passing yards. Well, no, he got that right. I'll accept Anthony, who picked the.
It was under
he
passing.
Picked the over in passing.
Yeah, that was never good.
He missed that, but everybody else got them both right.
I can't think of a quarterback who had a really good passing day. Did any of them? I got Jaden Daniels had an awesome.
He had a 320-yard game and a 299-yard game, both in that Washington-Detroit game.
I wouldn't say Jared Goff had a good passing day, though.
Maybe not.
He had some yards, but his play overall was pretty abysmal. And I feel bad for Detroit because you can't go forward Jared Goff at this point and expect to win a Super Bowl. It just can't happen.
Had too many injuries on defense.
I understand, but Jared Goff is not the guy.
I don't know.
To win you a Super Bowl. He
won one. I don't know.
He did?
Didn't he?
No.
Thought he won one.
The Rams lost to New England.
I don't know. I like Jared Goff.
He's fine. He's a good player, but again, when you're...
Well, what about Lamar? Can he win a Super Bowl?
That wasn't Lamar's fault.
But can he win a Super Bowl?
Yes, absolutely.
Why isn't some of it Lamar's fault? He had a horrible fumble.
He had a bad fumble.
Had an interception just as bad. Why can't we blame a little
we can put a little bit on him, but Mark Andrews choked his guts out, and I hate
Mark, I feel terrible for Mark Andrews. But
you feel terrible for him? I don't feel terrible for him. I feel terrible for his teammates who he let down.
Did he let him down, or did he just not make a couple plays?
He dropped the ball right in his chest.
That Lamar Jackson fumble?
Not.
Did he let his teammates down?
It's, I guess, if you want to put it like that. But when the game is on the line.
Have you ever played a snap of football in your life?
Sure, out in the back.
No, really.
Out in the backyard, I took some snaps.
Not in the real. I'm talking about out there doing it for the team.
Sure.
And you lose the football
twice.
And those things happen.
I guess, but another guy you probably won't see in that uniform again is Mark Andrews.
Well, that's terrible. He's a good player.
They've got Isaiah Likely. They'll be fine. They'll figure it out.
Mark Andrews was their go-to over Isaiah Likely yesterday. And, whatever. If you're going to cut guys because they drop a pass, you're not going to last long as a general manager.
It's not really about cutting guys because it's just how do you bring him back to face that next year? It's just better for guys to move on and change the scenery kind of thing. It's not a punishment. It's just, hey, it's not working out anymore here, Mark.
Is it working out? I mean, listen, I love Lamar Jackson, but the guy's got to win something at some point.
He played pretty well, notwithstanding the turnovers.
Right, the turnovers are what measure you.
He played better than Josh Allen, I'd say.
Josh Allen managed the game yesterday. That's all he did.
You're not going to be able to do that against the Chiefs, I don't think.
I don't know. Probably not.
You're going to have to go win the game against Kansas City.
It'll be better conditions. How do you feel about watching games in snow? That Philadelphia game was hard to watch.
I don't understand. I mean, I know they got the cleats and the long cleats they were talking about with Saquon, but I don't understand how they move around so well in that stuff.
Well, Saquon's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And the New York Giants should fold as a franchise.
Not smart. But they weren't going anywhere with him.
No, what'd they get for him?
Nothing. He signed as a free agent.
Exactly. You got that kind of guy, and you got nothing?
Nothing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes.
So we have an NFC East battle between the Commanders and the Eagles. And we have another in a long line of Bills-Chiefs matchups. We're going to have the Chiefs and the Eagles in a rematch of the Super Bowl from a couple years ago. Although the Eagles...
Don't you think the Commanders can go in there and...
I hope so.
Nothing phases Jaden Daniels. I've never seen a more poised young player. There's nothing. He shows no emotion ever about anything.
But the Eagles are good top to bottom, except... Can Jalen Hurts throw the football anymore?
Doesn't seem like it.
But boy, Saquon and Jalen Hurts can run it.
He's got 4 playoff victories, Jalen Hurts. I heard this coming over. He hasn't surpassed, I think, 160 yards in any of them passing. So I don't know that they necessarily need him to, but they need him probably to be better than he was yesterday.
They're a good team. The Chiefs are going to win it again.
I told you that 3 weeks ago.
It's just so obvious. I mean, we can throw up Buffalo and
Buffalo's they're really dangerous.
They are really dangerous. But the Chiefs are going to beat them.
And they took it to the Chiefs earlier this year.
I wouldn't know about taking it to them.
It wasn't much of a game.
What? Now you got me. Why do you do this?
What do I do what?
Make erroneous statements, and then I got to look everything up.
I don't know that it was erroneous. Was it?
Yeah, it wasn't. It's fine.
What was the score of the game?
It was 30-21.
Chiefs will probably beat them.
It was a fairly good taking it to them. Josh Allen was really good in that game, although 27 of 40 for 262 yards, a touchdown, an interception. He did run the ball effectively. And Patrick Mahomes had 2 interceptions.
You know the Chiefs likely are not going to make the mistakes that lose them a game. Like we saw the Ravens do, like we saw the Texans do, the Lions did it. Chiefs aren't going to do that. You're not going to walk away.
The Chiefs have the perfect combination of a great quarterback, a generational quarterback, a generational coach, maybe the greatest tight end ever. Full alert. The best fan base in the National Football
Let's just
League.
relax.
No, they are.
Let's just relax.
They're the best in terms of being.
No, they're not. Whatever you're about to say, no, they're not. Every fan base is the same. What are you trying to even say?
They just have everything.
I guess.
Now, they have people like Max who thinks the officials are behind them.
I don't know if they're
Max,
behind
go ahead
them.
And play the fool alert for you, by the way, because that's foolish. What did you start to say?
I don't know if the officials are behind them, but those 2 calls against Mahomes yesterday were pretty.
The one, I could see how they missed it, because those guys, it did look like they'd made illegal helmet contact, right?
When they dove at him, when the 2 guys dove at him. Yeah, but what are you going to do in that situation? Even if that was the case, he's running around. He's trying to draw a penalty, and you give it to him. I don't like that. He did the same thing, running out of bounds, slowing down.
That one I didn't like.
Yeah, he's going to get himself hurt.
Well, he may get himself hurt. But Houston was, I think Houston's a good team, but Houston was never going to win that game.
No, and we need to see, it was the same Final Four in the AFC last year as it was this year, and there's no real reason to believe that it won't be the same next year, especially if Houston gets its weapons back, Dell and Diggs.
Well, Houston's got tremendous talent. Baltimore's got to do a little bit of reevaluation. I'm sorry. And can you depend on help me out, man.
I don't even know what you're at.
Derrick Henry. Can you depend on him
but they have
to be that again?
Not necessarily, but they have other guys that they can go to. And
Hill,
they got Mitchell, who was decent in his rookie year. Was hurt, came back kind of as a return guy, and you could always pick a running back in the 6th round and work him in.
They got to figure some things out.
I'm sure there'll be some retooling, but it's not like you can do too much retooling.
We're going to do a Bob and Jeff draft today.
We are?
Coming up in hour number 2 around 6:25. We're going to pick the current quarterbacks that you would take. And each of us will pick 5.
5? I thought we picked 8.
All right, we'll go for 8. We'll pick 8. 8 current quarterbacks.
Sure.
And then we'll evaluate that 8.
Sounds great.
And we'll do a coin flip for the first pick. Although the first pick could be one of any 3 quarterbacks.
All in the AFC, but Jaden Daniels is where
he's moving up quick. Didn't he look Mahomes-ish in that game against Detroit? I loved him.
Like early Mahomes. There's nothing gonna rattle him.
I loved him. And when I said last week on the show that the Commanders have some weapons, I got basically run out of the room by Jason Duda. And I'll go ahead and say it again. They may not have a lot of people you've heard of, but when you have a quarterback like that, he creates weapons.
I know I picked Detroit, but
right? Are you with me on that?
Sure, but
back me up.
On what?
What I just said.
I said sure, and I like I said, I know I picked Detroit, but I was the one saying I wouldn't be surprised. I should have picked Washington because that did feel a little bit right, but I just couldn't go against Detroit and my man Dan Campbell. Poor guy.
Well, he messed up.
Throwing the ball with Jamison Williams.
Oh, my God. And Jamison Williams just it kind of looked like he thought he was playing in the playground. He threw it off one foot, just kind of lobbed it up there in the most critical part of the game. You talk about a guy who's going to get run out of his city. That made me angry.
Who's going to get run out of his city?
Jamison Williams.
Oh. Well, he was supposed to run, according to or they wanted him to run. according to Dan Campbell.
I read on Twitter some people saying he's not the brightest bulb, Jameson. I don't know that to be true or not, but that pass was awful.
It was ill-advised.
No, it was awful.
It was a bad pass.
Ill-advised.
But it wasn't. He shouldn't have thrown it in the first place. That guy was covered.
But did you see the way he threw it?
I was watching the game.
Nature.
Yeah, because you're trying to kind of throw off. If you step and plant, then he kind of looks like.
You think he has the ability to do that?
I'm just saying, if you're looking like you're running, you want to throw on the run. You know what I'm saying?
How'd that go for him?
It went bad.
Exactly. Bad play call. And then the 12 men on the field without getting a timeout. Are you kidding?
Well, Tom Brady tried to call it for him.
Well, no, they knew that. Did you see the coaches?
Yeah.
They knew there were 12 men on the field.
Why weren't they screaming timeout? That never was really explained.
I don't know. But, man, I feel bad for Detroit because I thought they were in a position, but now I'm pulling completely and unequivocally for the Washington Commanders, who may be my team.
Okay.
What does that mean?
It means nothing.
This is the kind of team I wanted back in the day when I picked the Raiders.
Well, you picked the Raiders.
An up-and-coming team with a quarterback.
Well, you missed it.
And a coach.
You missed it. You don't get to jump on. You either got to see it from the beginning.
I did see that.
No, you didn't. You got to jump in on the ground floor. You don't get to jump in at all.
I talked about Washington all year long.
No, you didn't. Especially after they started to struggle a little bit following the Hail Mary.
Well, I like them. Can I just say that?
Everybody likes them, but that doesn't make you special. That doesn't mean you get to just adopt them.
Well, you got to go for Indiana, the Pacers.
Yeah, I was in on the ground floor with them.
No, you weren't. They'd been around for 40 years.
They'd won 36 games the year before I jumped on with them.
Well, Washington won how many last year?
4? I don't know.
Right. Now I'm jumping in.
It's too late.
I disagree.
I'm telling you.
I think it's just fine. Max, we're going to take a break, come back, and continue the discussion at around 5:40 today. We'll get the Andale boys coach,
Jeff Buchanan.
You have a daughter who graduated from Andale.
Sure do.
They're playing pretty well right now.
Sure are.
So we'll talk Andale basketball coming up a little bit later in the show at 5:40 or thereabouts. Bob and Jeff, KFH, stay with us.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
One and Done, the name of the musical theme. You hear this song a lot with Ozempic. Magic from Pilot as we get going on a Monday. Talking about the NFL, the 4 divisional games played over the weekend. Entertaining. None of them classics, I wouldn't say, but they all held our interest.
They were all pretty good games.
Buffalo-Baltimore, the way Baltimore fought back from a 21-10 halftime deficit in Buffalo was impressive. And then you had Saquon Barkley, who was, in my opinion, next to the Commanders quarterback Daniels, the star of the weekend. Those were the 2 guys, right?
Yeah. I can't think of anybody else who would Kelsey, but I don't know if his performance, I don't get it. He's so slow and he lumbers around, but something happens to him in the playoffs, and
he's got something going for him that is you can't explain. Besides Taylor Swift, and by the way, Caitlin Clark in the booth with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that one.
Well, she's a Chiefs fan.
Okay, but why does she need to be in Taylor's suite?
Probably because Taylor asked her to be.
They're like 15 years apart in age. Come on. I don't know.
If you knew how many younger people would hang out with me, it'd be unbelievable.
I do know.
How many?
Exactly.
No, how many?
Not
I
many.
said I'm going to be in the suite at Riverfront Stadium Thursday night, fictitiously, hypothetically. You don't think some would want to hang out?
They'd want to be in the suite. I don't know if they'd want to be with you. There's a fine line between those.
You take every opportunity to denigrate.
I just said I don't know. I think being in the suite's probably the bigger attraction with Papa Kelsey and the bunch.
By the way, I had lunch with our mutual friend Dwayne Frazier today, who dropped yesterday when I was texting him. Dropped a little bit of a. I think I can say this.
Well,
maybe I shouldn't. That's okay. What can he do?
I don't know.
He and his wife are moving to Arizona.
Wow. What for?
He's retiring.
Retiring to Arizona. I guess that's one way to do it.
Retiring to Arizona.
Smart.
West of Phoenix, a Phoenix suburb. And there's a part of me envies that, man. Look at this weather. What are they saying out at Storm Team 12?
I don't know. I wasn't out at Storm Team 12 today.
I didn't expect this kind of snow today.
I didn't either. I don't think anybody did. I heard Friday they were talking about a light dusting type of thing, nothing that would accumulate. But it came down pretty heavy. I don't know if it still
is one thing, but we don't need the roads constantly under attack by snow.
Yeah, and school's probably going to be out in some locations tomorrow.
So. I don't think we've had enough for that to happen, but we'll see.
It's going to be really, really cold.
The low overnight, -4.
See?
I called off indoor practices tonight. Pretty good wise move.
I would say so.
Although I hate doing that too, but
I saw your boy Mozeliak spoke again. How'd that go for you?
Here's where I am on the Cardinals, okay? You trying to trigger me?
Well, it made me think that you talked about canceling indoor practices. The Cardinals have canceled their entire offseason.
They haven't done anything. They're waiting on this market to give them some clarity about who can potentially trade for Nolan Arenado. I would have traded Helsley and Fetty and anybody else that's contract is running out. I can't wait to see our friend Bernie Miklas's YouTube video on his thoughts because he's going to just go at them. But most of the St. Louis media, we think we can compete. We've got all these young players, and we think they'll do just fine.
You never know.
Well, that was so good.
We have a guy in the Cleveland media that's becoming a little cantankerous about the Guardians' efforts.
Who's that?
Zach Meisel with The Athletic.
What's he becoming cantankerous?
He's just going after ownership, talking about, if you got that close, why not really push the chips in? But the Cleveland, they're not a push the chips in type of organization. They're a kick the can down the road. We got to make sure we're always
meanwhile, the
competitive.
Dodgers sign everybody.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter anyway.
Everybody. And that's not even an overstatement. Really, I mean, Tanner Scott, yeah, we'll take him.
Why not?
At least they didn't sign Anthony Santander, who went to the Blue Jays, and that will help the Blue Jays.
I didn't see that.
Gives them a big bat to be with Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. That suddenly becomes a much better lineup. They're not in a place to compete yet, but you at least say, wow.
And they're trying to get Pete Alonso, too.
Well, now then we're talking.
And that's a pretty decent little lineup they got.
But then who are you going to DH?
I don't know. Who, besides Guerrero and Vlad, Guerrero and Alonso, who would be the candidates to DH.
Well, I don't think Vlad Guerrero wants to DH. So does Pete Alonso want to DH?
I don't know.
I'd say unlikely. Although that guy's not going to have many choices.
Doesn't seem like it.
He's going to have to take something he's not crazy about and try to make it work for a year, and then throw his hat back out there.
Seems to be, yeah, that's probably the case.
I'll say this about the Cardinals. As they sit today, as they are today, now they've got to trade Arenado. I'll watch. I like some of their young guys.
Sure.
I don't think they're in a position to compete, but they're in a position to win some games. They were 83 and 79 last year. What were the Guardians? 81 and
92 and 69.
They won 92.
They would have won 93, but our last game got
played
canceled.
the White Sox. How many?
They did actually were one of the worst teams against the White Sox.
Yeah, we didn't have that luxury.
Yeah, we still got to the ALCS.
Yeah, he had a good year. Let's see if he can do it again.
Let's see. You never know.
Anything
Cautiously
else?
Optimistic.
Anything else about football you want to say?
I'm trying to think if we kind of covered all the games in that early segment. Did we miss anything?
I don't think we missed anything. We can talk a little bit about college basketball. And by the way, today is a 1-hour show here on KFH. We'll give way to coaches' shows. But we're going to hang around and do a little bit extra for you on our podcast. And you can get to that on the Odyssey app at kfhradio.com. Max will put it on X or Twitter. So we're accessible, and we're going to hang around and do that for you out of the goodness of our heart.
How sweet of us.
Shockers lose. Late three-pointer by East Carolina. Another half-full arena.
Was it half full?
That's what I was told. By reliable sources. So they have not generated much interest. KU got off to a 14-0 start in its game against Kansas State on Saturday, and then K-State kind of looked okay the rest of the way. They battled back. They covered.
Barely.
How about my 10.5-point spread?
Yeah, it was 14.5.
Right, I made it 10.5.
I know.
I was closer.
You were, but you were worse too.
Yeah, I killed myself.
Because you picked KU?
I picked KU.
Yeah, that hurts.
And due to pick K-State. And that was my 8-point game, and it killed me.
That doesn't help at all. How many points do I have?
You missed that game.
Sure did.
You got the over and the under. You got Buffalo, your bonus. But
that's it, I think.
That's it. You missed Houston, Philly, and Detroit.
So that's still 22 points or something.
Yeah, right now you're sitting at 20. I'm sitting at 27. Duda at 12. Max at 18. Anthony at 19.
Duda had 22?
Yeah, but he lost 10 of them.
That still makes me angry.
Why?
Because I wanted them to be in the negatives or the low single digits.
Well, if he gets Ohio State tonight and the over, he's got 22 points even with the 10-point loss.
I hate that for everybody. That's almost perfect in his other games because it's like 36 is the most you can get.
That's what we're up against.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what you hate.
I hate it.
I'm just saying, that's why I'm pulling big for Notre Dame tonight.
I guess.
And I think they got a decent chance.
I don't know.
I certainly think they can cover 8.5 points because their defense is legitimately good. I like their coach.
You talk about no dominant team, but I feel like winning 4 games against Tennessee, Oregon, Texas, and Notre Dame, that wipes away
teams that aren't dominant. Yeah,
whatever. That kind of wipes away any of the regular season. They're not dominant talk. Oregon was undefeated. Notre Dame is a one-loss.
This will be viewed as one of the weakest champions in the history of college football.
I don't know about that.
Trust me on it.
I don't think so.
Well, I do.
I think it's strong because you had to win more games.
Right. Well, somebody's going to win the games, right? If they play the games, somebody's going to win them.
Sure.
So that's not
but
an
the
argument.
team that comes through that.
That's not an argument to say this is a
Sure
stronger.
it is.
No, it's
Is
not.
it harder to win one game or four?
Well, but somebody has to win them.
Right, but is it harder?
Well, that doesn't factor into whether the ultimate winner can be viewed as a dominant team.
So if you win 90 games in the postseason, you might not be dominant because
Right.
somebody had to win.
Exactly. Somebody has to win.
I hate that argument.
Every game played outside of soccer, which
So if you win 90 in a row,
is somebody wins. I always tell our kids in League 42, the ones that I've coached, there's a winner and a loser for every game, and the key is to try to act the same regardless.
try.
Right. I know it's hard. That's why I don't mandate it. That's why I don't say you have to. But the attempt should be made that you win with dignity and you lose with class.
What do you think about Lamar Jackson all over the field smiling with guys after the game?
Fine. He's a nice kid.
Nah. It should break your heart.
Well, yeah, you saw him in the post game. He was not happy. His heart was broken. But these are the way the world works nowadays is different from the way Bob Gibson. You wouldn't have seen Bob Gibson out there smiling.
No.
When they lost the Game 7 of the 68 World Series, here's what you would have seen if you'd kept the cameras on him. Him punching Jim Northrup.
Would he have smiled about that?
He might have smiled after he punched him.
Right. It is different, I guess, but still.
Well,
I love Lamar Jackson, so I won't say a cross word about him.
Bob Gibson's one of the most competitive people to ever live.
Nothing wrong with that. I enjoy competitive people.
Oh, he's my all-time favorite athlete. You understand that, right?
I did know that.
All you need to do is look around this West Wichita basement studio.
You don't have any. Well, you have. Oh, Bob. There's 3 pieces of Gibson memorabilia.
I need to get to work on that, maybe.
Is this? Who's in the center of this 3? Gibson and Musial. Who's in the middle?
I don't know what you're looking at.
This one right here.
We'll have to. We'll talk about that. That's Red Schoendienst over on the right.
Huh.
You mean kneeling with the bat?
Yeah.
That's Red Schoendienst.
Okay. Well, good for him. Does he belong in that?
Of course he does. He's a
Triumvirate?
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, but come on.
This
Gibson,
is a
Gibson, Musial, Schoendienst.
This is a collage. This is I'm honoring the Cardinals Hall of Famers.
I understand that, but
And I got to get to work on that because I do have some Ted Simmons stuff. There's a Bruce Sutter bobblehead. But I got to get to work on some of that.
who don't you have? Enos?
No, I have Enos Slaughter right over there.
Well, looks like you're covered then.
Rogers Hornsby, tough to find.
I can imagine.
Jeff Buchanan joins us. He's the head boys basketball coach at Andale. They are off to a 5-2 start.
It might be 6-2, depending on what.
I was given information, Coach, that you're 5-2. What's your record? How are you?
We are 6-2.
Well,
we need to get that Haven score on Max Preps, Coach.
I'll let the AD know he's slacking a little bit.
I went to lunch today with Dwayne Frazier, who covered high school sports at the Wichita Eagle for quite some time, as I did, and that's our conversation always veers toward that and towards those times. How much do you think we're missing in society without the kind of high school sports coverage there used to be?
100%. I obviously growing up in the local area, grew up at Goddard. We were a huge fan of the paper and what you guys did and the coverage you guys gave all the area schools. And it's something that's missing. That's for sure. And I still like to read things there in my hand. I don't like reading on screens. So the good old days of a newspaper or magazine and all that, that's still a hit for me. But I agree. If there was a way to bring that back and give some of these young men and women that are working so hard all the time, give them a little more publicity and get a little more out there, it's great. One of our local guys, Fred Solis, works out there at the Clarion that goes out in our area, and he does a phenomenal job covering our local athletics and everything. So we still get a little bit of it for our communities, but from a broader sense, yeah, you hit that one right on.
Yeah, so you guys have won 6 in a row now. You had the early stumbles. Was that a football thing? I mean, we kind of talk about that every year. Guys, get in late because they've just won the state championship, which happens more often than not for Andale's football team. Well, did it just take a minute to round those guys back into basketball shape?
Well, we're never going to use that as an excuse, obviously. But it is hard, when you got young men that have only practiced 1 time, 2 times before that first week of games. It makes it hard to go over everything and put your mind in the basketball mode and the fast pace up and down and just getting physically and mentally, in condition for it. So we did. Those are both games. That first week we had leads late in the fourth, and then we just had a couple mistakes. The other team hit a couple shots that we lost those leads. So, but we've done a good job since then. It was a good foundation, and we learned a lot from it real quick. And the young men have done a great job winning 6 in a row here.
Talking with Jeff Buchanan from Andale, what tournament are you in this weekend, and what's your view on tournaments? I always love this week. I think everybody does. You get to see your team play on 3 consecutive days or nights or whatever. How much does this typically help a basketball team playing in these tournaments?
Oh, this is awesome. We play out at the Rupp tournament in Halstead. We've been out there for a number of years, and they do a great job. It's an awesome atmosphere there in the gym, and a ton of their local community comes out, and then there's enough local teams out there that also come, so everybody travels well, and you get some good basketball. Just like everybody, I'm a big fan of the mid-season tournaments. I think they're a great gauge for you, as you kick off the second half of the season right afterwards and get ready for sub-state. It kind of gives you a view to see some other teams that, generally aren't on your schedule and kind of gives you a basis of where you're at. In ours at the Rupp, we just played Haven. Haven was number 3 in 3A when we played them on Friday. So last week was a tough week for us with Collegiate on Monday. Then we played Clearwater Tuesday and then Haven on Friday. So 2 ranked teams in 3A last week, but they're in the Rupp tournament. And then Cheney, who's also has a really good team again this year. They as of last week's rankings, they were number 5 in 3A. So, but they're still undefeated, and so it's a good tournament. It's a great competition, local teams, and a great fan base.
And you play Garden Plain tonight.
We play Garden Plain tonight. So, we played them a couple weeks ago, right out of Christmas break, and we got that one, but. They're playing better, just watching them on film, and they're a lot more smooth and big kids inside, and the guys are shooting it well from the outside. So they're playing better, and cannot take them lightly whatsoever. But I'd like to think our guys are playing a little bit better too, and have improved and have themselves ready.
Yeah, 2 wins over 2 top 3 teams in the class. That'll go a long way to seeing where you're at. What clicked in those games against Collegiate and Haven? How'd you pull those out?
Both those teams, obviously, they're ranked for a reason. They're good teams. But, overall, it was just a consistency. On the offensive end, shot the ball well and made free throws throughout the game, which is always huge in those close games. And then defensively, the guys are getting better. They're getting a lot better at anticipating and rebounding the ball has been a huge factor for us throughout the game. So, really, it was just the consistency throughout the game, each night that really helped us. We didn't have too many lows throughout the game and limited our mistakes a lot. And then just having different guys step up. This last game, Fatusik and Horsch led us in scoring against Haven, shot the ball well from the perimeter. Austin Ballman's been great for us all year. Had multiple games, 20 points and double-digit rebounds. So, obviously teams are concentrating on him a lot more now, and it's nice to see those other guys step up.
Jeff Buchanan with us from Andale. He's the boys basketball coach. You mentioned a couple of your players by last name, but tell us a little more in depth about who your guys are, who leads you, who do you depend on for your success?
Well, the guy with the most experience and probably gets the most recognition right now is Austin Ballman. He's averaging just under 20 points a game for us, and he's been good. Shooting a little under 50% from three, and then, like I said, rebounding one of the best around. And then point guard was Harrison Patusik. He's been doing a great job. He's averaging just under 10 a game for us. Jack Horsch is our other guard that starts, and he is here after Christmas, been shooting the ball real well, and he's just one of those kids, and he did it on the football field. In the state game, he was great on the defensive side, and then had a few runs for him as well. And so he's doing that same thing for us on the basketball court and getting on the floor and getting rebounds and all that. And then, we've had different injuries, so there's been a lot of different combinations out there. We've got, Ben Molitor in the post. We got Bo Kaiser in the post. We have had Cooper Marks was hurt. He was a top 11 kid in football. He started playing after Christmas here after a thumb injury, so he's been nice to have. Sam Cooper coming off the bench. He's been hurt in the past, so we're still battling some injuries, still waiting for that where we get everybody healthy so that we can get a full team going again. And it may be February before we get that, but that'll only add to the depth and help things out.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Halstead tournament. You mentioned a lot of it, but just having so many schools who are kind of in the same part of the state, maybe play each other during the regular season, it really adds to the atmosphere, does it? I can only cover that tournament, I think, once, and it was the championship game, but I was just stunned. I couldn't get a seat near the press table. I was like sitting up at the top row trying to make a table out of like the platform that the camera guy was on. I just love that tournament like you do. What else makes that kind of so special?
Well, they treat you well, and like a lot of tournaments in the area, they have little bits and pieces that they add in to make it fun for the kids, make it fun for the players, the 3-point contest, the free throw contest, and some of those things. And, one of the things our guys will say is one of the best is they feed you a big meal after one of the games. So that's our night tonight, so they're excited for that. But just the hospitality and even the local fans. I mean, they get out there and you'll have as many locals from Halstead out there as we're bringing as well from the Andale area or anywhere else. And that gym is sweet. It's fun because you got bleachers on all four sides behind the goals and everything. So students get going. They kind of get riled back and forth a little bit. But it's a close proximity, and it's great because people can go and watch and see some good basketball each night. It's not just one game. You got the multiple games, and they do it a little bit different where two games on Monday, a different set of four teams play 2 games on Tuesday, and then the winners play Friday, the losers play Thursday, and then everybody plays Saturday. So it's a little bit different format than the Thursday, Friday, Saturday formats. I like it. It gives you a little prep time in between a little bit, but it's fun. It's great. And we've really enjoyed going there.
All right, Jeff. Well, we appreciate it. I was a little fearful that they might postpone some games tonight with the weather. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Best of luck in the Adolph Rupp tournament in Halstead. Tonight's first round opponent, Garden Plain at 7:45. If you want to go over to Halstead and watch some high school basketball. Thanks, Jeff.
Hey, we appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
Jeff Buchanan, the boys basketball coach at Andale High School. He's been there quite a while.
Yeah, I miss talking to him after games.
When did you talk to him after?
A bunch. I covered Andale a bunch.
Did you?
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I
miss those days.
It was fun.
Covering high school.
I like covering high school basketball a lot more than I liked covering high school football, but I still liked covering high school football.
Yeah, I got you. All right. We're going to send it out to the Wichita State coaches shows. Meanwhile, Jeff and I will be back in podcast form only with some more banter and a Bob and Jeff draft. Current NFL quarterbacks, and each of us will get to use Patrick Mahomes.
Wait, what? No.
Yeah, because the one that picks Mahomes will win going away.
Nah.
In the vote.
I guess. Do people still vote?
Sure they do. We've never been more popular.
Yeah, that's what
Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be back in podcast form.